Welcome back to Say It Forward with Lou, the podcast where we speak purpose, position, and divine pivots out loud. And today's episode, well, this one's got some grown woman weight to it. It's for the grown and the gorgeous, for the healed and the healing, for the woman who knows that love isn't something you fall into, it's something you walk into with clarity, confidence, and courage. So, if you're 40 something, 50 something, or even 60 something, and navigating the dating scene or thinking about it, this episode is for you. And let me go ahead and say it up front. Dating in your late 40s, going into your 50s, hits different. This one right here, it's layered, it's me, it's life, and it might be you too, right? So go ahead, grab your cup of cozy, I have mine, and let's have a real conversation. The kind that tastes like truth and sits on your soul. So let's sift through today's topic and chat. Hello, 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 and welcome to another episode of Say It Forward with Lou. I am your host, Linda, aka Lou, and we are a community of healing, growth, creativity, and positivity. So let's dive in and sift through today's topic and chat. So as I said in the introduction, this episode is for the grown woman trying to navigate dating, right? And for the record, I'm 49, no shame, and about to cross the 50th threshold in August, right? And by the time this episode is shared around again, because y'all are gonna like, review, and share it, right? I'll be 50. Half a century, you guys, right? Like that's even amazing for me to even think about. And I'm not new to this. I'm true to this grown season of life, right? I've been grown for a while. And let me tell you, dating at this age is not for the weak, the weary, or the ones still playing games, especially after divorce. It's not cute. It's not carefree. And it's not, let's go half on a plate of nachos. And I love nachos with jalapenos and some extra sour cream. But I digress. It's not that energy, right? So because it's layered, it's life, it's with loss, it's long held lessons that come at a price. And I've lived through a divorce that I'd never imagined that I would be going through, right? That I never imagined that I experienced. And it changed the way that I trusted, just to be really honest. I've been betrayed in ways that knocked the breath out of me. I've lived through heartbreak that I never saw coming. I endured stretches of silence that were so long, I started wondering if I was invisible, right? If maybe love wasn't something I was meant to have after all. And the silences would be so long, right, that they echoed in my soul. And the loneliness at times made me question, am I too much? Or even, am I enough, right? But somehow, by grace, here I am. I'm still soft, still open, still hopeful, but it's not a loud hope. It's quiet these days, and it's cautious, and it's guarded, but it's grateful. And because I've survived all the things, because I've thrived, I'll say that's a better word, because I've thrived through all the things that could have, made me falter, right? It could have made me go into this dark space. I just don't date for butterflies anymore, right? I'm dating for peace, and I'm dating for alignment, because this isn't, if you know, you know, this isn't season 1 Molly, right? This is more like season 5 Issa, right? Still a little unsure, but real. You've grown, you're healing, soft, but not silent, honest, but you're evolving and asking better questions. And because dating in your late 40s, it's not just about swiping right. it's layered, right? With life, with losses, with lessons you didn't sign up for, right? But you had to learn anyway. And you survive them. It's not about cute couples goals on IG stories and posts. It's more layered and grown folks energy, right? It's navigating dating apps, something that I have not tried, but so I hear. But it's navigating like dating apps where, people are swiping on 56-plus-year-old men in their sunglasses and standing next to their cars, or, with their big fish, or even worse, in their ex's kitchen, right? It's showing up to a first date and wondering, did he lie about his age, or did he just stop caring after 2011, right? But all jokes aside, seriously, it's deep because it's not just about love. It's about healing what broke you before love ever found you. And it's not about being bitter. We hear that a lot. It's not about being bitter. It's about being better, which is true. And I've also learned I don't date to prove that I'm lovable. I'm not going to try to prove my worth and my value to you. I'm not going to try to prove that I'm lovable. I date to see if love is safe enough to stay. And by God's grace, I'm still here. I'm still hopeful. I'm still soft, literally and figuratively. And I'm still open and not wide open, right? No busted wide open over here, but I'm not reckless, right? But I'm open. And that, y'all, that's a testimony within itself. So let's talk about what dating really requires now at this stage in my life as a late 40s, almost 50-year-old woman, right? So in your 40s, you don't just bring your smile, right? You bring your stories. You don't just show up cute, right? You show up conscious. Dating this age demands more. More of what, Lou? I'm glad you asked. More self-awareness, more discernment, more emotional sobriety, right? And here's what they don't tell you, right? Dating in your late 40s demands more of you than it ever did in your 20s, in your 30s, because dating isn't about the butterflies, right? It's about balance at this age, right? Because honestly, I don't need you to take me to a $300 dinner if you can't offer $3 worth of emotional intelligence, right? You don't just show up anymore because you're cute. You show up with a level of consciousness. And at this stage, love has to come with maturity. And I'm not here just for the chemistry without consistency, charm without character. You can keep it, right? I am talking accountability over avoidance, transparency over trauma bonding, and actions over aesthetics, right? Because I've lived long enough to know that no matter how fine a man is, without follow through, it's like a walking disappointment. You can keep it. And I don't just want chemistry, right? I'm looking for character. I'm looking for, can you communicate? I'm asking, can you self-regulate, right? Can you show up with intention? And let's be honest. Can we be honest? There's something sacred about knowing your worth and not flinching when someone else doesn't see it. Because it takes a certain kind of wholeness to say, I desire love, but I won't beg for presence. I'm open to connection, but I'm not tolerating confusion, right? And yes, I love romance. I'm a romantic person at heart, right? I'm one of the biggest people who love romance. The butterflies, all the blushy, cushy, mushy stuff. I love it. But I've also learned from the Psalms and from the pages of my journal that I want the kind of love that reflects God's heart for me. Patient, peaceful, present, pursuing. That's the standard now, right? Because this version of me, she's not auditioning for love anymore. She's interviewing for alignment. And I want peace, not pressure, presence over your promises that are empty, right? Consistency over your charm. That's what I want. And I'm not interested in surviving another emotional roller coaster. There is no Vivian Green emotional roller coaster. That was my song. But I don't want to be on the emotional roller coaster anymore, right? I want a man who knows how to stand, not just in a storm, but with me, because I don't need saving. Thank you, God, for saving me. I don't need a man to do that. I need partnership. And those are two very different things. Because there was a time when I called the bare minimum potential. And I talked about that on another episode. And when I let inconsistency masquerade as mystery, right? Or when I made excuses instead of exits and chucking the deuce, right? But that version of me, thank you, God, she's grown and she's graduated. We are in May. We are in graduation season and she has graduated. And I'm not asking for the moon, though I deserve it. I'm no longer making a meal out of crumbs because my standards are not walls. They're boundaries with clarity. And I date from wholeness now, right? Now that I am dating and not hunger. And I'm not dating to fix. I'm dating to align. So let's go ahead and talk about those crumbs, right? There was a time, again, like I said, I called inconsistency mystery, bare minimum effort potential, and where I mistook being chosen eventually as being valued, right? But she's retired. I've done the work, therapy, coaching, tears, Jesus, journaling, all of it, right? I've done it. So now I don't mistake silence for safety. I don't see red flags and call them challenges to overcome or put them in my purse, because it's one thing to see a red flag, but if you don't do anything with it, then what's the use, right? My standards are not unreasonable. They're now more informed, right? Because peace is expensive and I refuse to pay for it with my sanity. And let me say this for someone who needs to hear it. You are not too much. You are not too late. You are simply no longer available for less than what your heart truly deserves, right? So now let's really talk about what it's like dating as a grown woman, right? Not grown like you finally got 401k, grown, as in you might take some magnesium at night. You might carry some almonds or a couple peppermints out in your purse, right? And I won't even talk to a man if you don't have good, dental hygiene and floss your teeth, right? So let me say it plain. Dating as an aging woman, especially as a Gen X queen like myself, is a whole different sport. And it's not different because we've lost value. It's because the world keeps trying to tell us that we have, right? We're supposed to believe that just because we've got more candles on our cake now, that our stock has gone down. Like, excuse me, sir, I'm not a penny stock, right? I'm a whole blue chip investment, a dividend paying investment, legacy building, recession proof investment, right? And here's the kicker. I look good, right? Like 30's good, right? Like, you sure you didn't graduate with me? Good, right? But then I hear that you're 32 and I'm like, wait a minute, sir. Did you say 32? Like, I was really about to ask you, do you remember Freaknik 94? And now I'm wondering if you were even alive for Destiny's Child. Say my name, Linda with a Y, right? And I'm gonna have to go here. But these millennials these days and some of these Gen Zers, bless y'all hearts, because I don't understand. It's like that generation seems to be aging like milk in July. And I don't know if it's the water, if it's stress, if it's the technology, the hot Cheetos. I don't know, right? But the math sometimes is not mathing, right? And I'm from a generation where we had names like what? Brenda, Letitia, Linda with a Y, Felicia, Dawn, LaShawn, Inez, and Alicia. If you know, you know. And yes, I am that Linda with a Y. Shout out to DMX. Rest in power. That verse basically like Gen X high school roll call, right? And when you really think about that, side note, it's over 30 seconds long of just names being called. That's impressive within itself, but I digress. And here we have these millennials out here talking about it's giving. Well, I am out here giving grown woman clarity and vintage fine. How about that? Okay. Because society will like to try and convince us that our stock has dropped, that once we enter our 40s and definitely after 45, that you're supposed to be happy with just whatever shows up, right? And yes, my knees might pop a little bit louder than they used to. And I might stretch when I get out of bed now and not at the gym like I'm supposed to be. Sorry, my trainer, you know who you are. My bad. I'm getting back. But I've learned but I've earned this softness, right? I fought for this clarity, right? So no, I don't have to just take what I can get. I refuse to believe the lie that just because I'm older, I should lower my standards or abandon my discernment. And let me say this slow. I still have a choice. I still have value and I still get to be discerning because vintage does not mean outdated. It means rare. Like, have y'all ever watched Antiques Roadshow? I love that show, right? But people bring in like their old dusty item. No, wait a minute. I'm not calling us old and dusty, but the point is it's an item that's old from their grandma's attic, right? And they walk out with like a valuation of $20,000. Why? Because authenticity appreciates in value. Okay. And that's what I am. That's what we are. Women who have grown, grieved, healed, evolved, and still have softness left to give, right? I know I do. And we're not clearance items. We are truly collector's editions. And biblically, let's look at that. Proverbs 16:31 says, gray hair is a crown of glory. It's gained in a righteous life. Translation, aging with grace is not a curse, it's a crown. That's beautiful, right? Psalm 92:14 says, they will still bear fruit in old age. They will stay fresh and green. So sis, fruit doesn't expire when the calendar flips. You're not dried up, used up, or passed over. You are still flourishing, still favored, and still fruitful. So yes, we may creak a little bit more when we get up, right? Right? And I may sleep with my weighted blanket, but please don't get it twisted. This version of me, she's priceless and I love her, right? And I'm not handing myself over to anyone who doesn't know how to handle something of value. So the next time somebody tries to hint that you're too old or too picky or too seasoned, right, to be single, everybody likes stuff to be seasoned except for their women. Another story. I want you to remember this, right? We are not past our prime. We are the prime. And I may be closer to 50 than I am to 40, but I still have a choice. And so do you. I have the right to be discerning, to be selective, and to say, yes, that I want love, but I want the kind of love that honors the woman that I have become. And I'm not trying to be 25 again. I'm trying to deeply be aligned, becoming 50. And that's fire, vintage fire. So now let's talk about how our faith anchors this standard. So we have to talk about the word, or I have to talk about the word, because y'all know here at Say It Forward, Lou, we can't, or I'm not trying to date without divine discernment, right? And we can't just date off of vibes and energy anymore. We have to date with a vision, right? And so let's look at Ruth, minding her business, showing up in the field, and Boaz saw her, right? Not because she tried to be seen, right? She wasn't posting up trying to be seen, right? But because she was faithfully herself. Ruth didn't chase Boaz. She was found in purpose, working in the field, showing up with integrity. She didn't perform, and she positioned right. She was walking in purpose and alignment. And Boaz said, I've heard about everything you've done. Translation: real men see what's real, even from a distance. And the scripture goes on to say, why have I found favor in your eyes, that you should take notice of me? And Boaz answered, I've been fully informed of all that you've done. So again, translation again. The real ones pay attention even when you think no one is watching. Don't believe me? Let's look at Sarah. Believing God for love and legacy even when her timeline felt overdue. Sarah had to believe that love, legacy, and laughter was still possible after menopause. And anybody in the late 40s and early 50s, we all know about peri and menopause, right? But Sarah laughed when God told her that she'd still receive promise in her old age. But by Genesis 21, she was holding what she once doubted, right? After the delays, after doubt, the scripture says, God has brought me laughter. So sis, even if the promise feels late, it's still yours, right? Look at Esther. And you know, I love Esther. I've talked about Esther several times in other episodes. She was hidden, prepared, positioned, and then revealed at the right time, right? I even talked about that in our last episode. Esther had 6 months of oil, 6 months of perfume, hidden and prepared before she was presented. Esther 2:12 shows us God sometimes hides you to heal you before revealing you. And when the time is right, the king will extend his scepter. You won't have to force favor. It will find you. And these stories remind me that I don't need to chase. You don't need to chase. I need to be consistent in my becoming, right? Because I'm not dating as a desperate woman. I'm dating as a developed one. And that's a difference. See, God writes the best love stories. Makes me smile and he often starts with healing, right? God doesn't rush love. He refines it. So no, this journey isn't about being perfect because I am far from it. It's about being available for love that mirrors the healing that you've done, right? Healed doesn't mean flawless. It means faithful. It means I don't need you to fix me. I just need you to meet me in the middle, right? Because our culture says rush. Wisdom says wait. And a lot of times our culture just wants us to rush through things while wisdom is saying wait. Everywhere you look, culture's yelling, you know, we having a hot girl and hot boy summers and we don't catch feelings, we catch flights and date multiple people until you get it right, which I get to an extent. And listen, I love a solo vacation because I will sip my iced chai in Italy, sandals on the cobblestone. Thank you very much. But I don't want to date like I'm window shopping, right? I want to date like I'm building legacy. Like I'm asking, can you cover me in prayer and in presence? For real, right? Can we build something that doesn't just look good on social media, but feels safe and secure, right? Feel safe in silence. So let's take a pause for a cup of cozy moment, right? I always tell you to get your cup of cozy together. We'll grab it, whatever it is, and take a deep breath and take a sip, literally. But now tell me, what are you sipping on emotionally right now? Is it hope? Is it hesitation? Is it healing? And ask yourself, am I dating from a healed place or a hidden wound? And I'll ask that again. Am I dating from a healed place or a hidden wound? Because if love knocked on your door today, like right now, if love knocked on your door right now, would it be meeting the real you? The woman who's whole on her own, the woman who knows her worth, or would it meet your mask, your representative, your fear, your need to perform? Would it meet your truth or your trauma? Would it meet the real you or the version still trying to earn love through performances? Because sis, and I'm talking to myself too, God can't bless the version of you you're pretending to be. So if you're single, healing, praying, and still believing, stay there. Stay soft, but stay smart. And let love find the real you. So I want you to journal this, okay? I'm going to task you with something. I want you to journal. What do I believe about love in this season? One. And does that belief reflect where I've been or where I'm going? So I'll say it again. What do I believe about love in this season? And does that belief reflect where I've been or where I'm going? And so before we close, I want to leave you with this. You don't have to prove that you're lovable. You don't have to bend until you break. You don't have to shrink to be chosen. You don't have to keep over functioning and under receiving. You're not too much. You're not too old. You're not too late. You are just now ready in ways you never were before. The love that's meant for you, it will recognize you. It will respect you. It will reverence the journey that made you who you are. So keep your standards high. Keep your expectations higher and keep doing the work that makes you magnetic for the right match, right? Because in this season, right, in our late 40s, right, you're not chasing love. You're creating space for the kind of love that knows what to do with you, right? So don't let the world rush you. Don't let loneliness trick you. Don't let past pain mislabel you. You're not out here looking for a rescue. You're out here wanting reciprocity, and let love find the woman who's already whole, already healed, already loving herself deeply, no matter who stays or who goes. Because love in your 40s and your 50s and beyond, it can be real, it can be beautiful, it can be rich, and it can be right. But only if it matches the woman you fought like hell to become. So say this with me. No more crumbs. I'm not hungry like that no more. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm only thirsty for the living water of God, right? So that's a wrap for this episode of Say It Forward with Lou. And if this episode spoke to your spirit, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with your friend, your auntie, your sis from way back when, right? That who needs a reminder that she is still worthy of love, that sees her, hears her, and honors her story. And if you want to dive deeper, book your ChitChat Clarity Call with me at www.sayitforwardwithlou.com. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram at sayitforward_podcast. Like, leave a review, share the episode. And until next time, stay soft. And as always, stay tuned, stay a while, and let's continue to say it forward together. Take care.